So many tweets coming in right now. Welcome to the Esports Report Daily Update. Tuesday, April 8th has been one for the ages. We have so many announcements today. And here to talk about the first half of the announcements, I want to bring on a very special guest. I've been trying to get this guy on a show for weeks, almost months at this point. In fact, I want to give him his own show eventually. Let's bring on my dude, Kingdom Soldier, all the way from the West Coast. How you doing, Kingdom?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to finally be on Esports Report. I know that you've been trying, and a lot of people thought it was that you guys weren't trying to get me on, but I'm happy to be on today with all these crazy roster changes.
It's been nuts, and I know you have a very special interview with Tipsy, the newly announced player from Curse LV. He's going to be on your channel. Where can people catch that after the show?
It's youtube.com/AAYMPower, or you can just look up Kingdom Soldier. At this point, I'll show up if you look me up, or MLG or Call of Duty. But Tipsy actually talked about how the roster was formed, and he talks a little bit about which phase team is better and how SB broke up and what he thinks will happen with TK. So it was a really good interview, and he gave me some good insight into these changes that have taken place in the last week.
I love how you kind of take these conversations and you take it to the next level. Here on the ESR, I'm just trying to get the news out as fast as possible, but I really like how you get in depth with the players, and they really give you some of the hardcore insight. Let's get your insight on these squads now. I got to ask you, Curse Las Vegas, it looked like a dream team on paper, the original lineup. Let's pull up that graphic when we get a minute. But when Parasite announced he was going back to play with Miracles and Killa, and they were going to bring in such a strong AR and Ricky that we saw win the PAX event with Parasite last year, I thought this team was going to be really good. When they fell short of qualifying at COD Champs US Regionals, I think that was a major shocker. Where did you see Parasite going from there? And was it that moment that you saw that Curse LV team destroyed, gone for good?
Yes, I knew it was over at that point. The minute I saw Killa get up and walk out of the venue, I pretty much was sure that Killa was not going to be teaming with Parasite anymore. And although those guys had a lot of success together, it didn't surprise me that they were going to separate. And Parasite, one of the things that he has that separates him from a lot of players in Call of Duty is a leadership ability. He's an excellent leader. And so seeing him team with Tipsy, and Tipsy is a great leader as well. If you don't know, he was the coach of that Justice Pro team that had the amazing run at the beginning of Ghost. And to see those two to get together and join with Enable, and I had to write all this down because there's so many Curse rosters now. I didn't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, Mochila as well.
Yeah, and Mochila is he's amazing. He was that player on Curse NY when it came down to LAN that you would hear them in team chat say, okay, Mochila, we need you to drop a 30 bomb right now so that we can win this game. He's consistent, he's good, and I think that this team, it kind of scares me to see what they're gonna do. Again, with Call of Duty Ghost, you can't put anything on online, so we gotta wait to see what happens, and I believe that their first event is not going to be PAX. Maybe it is going to be PAX. Are they going to be playing at PAX?
No, the original Season 1 lineups will be the teams in the playoffs. Of course, it only makes sense. Although these team changes are happening now, we're still finishing out Season 1 the same way we started it. But their first games together online will be Season 2, but I believe they're going to UGC Niagara, possibly?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Tipsy did mention that. They're going to Niagara. And the one thing that he said he's excited about is the team house. We're going to see the Curse family feud on LAN, not online. We're going to get to see them play against each other in the same place eventually. And that's really exciting. Tipsy's really excited to see how that's going to help their team grow, and they're going to build chemistry. But I have no doubt that it's going to be quick chemistry. And Parasite, I honestly didn't see this team happening. I thought that he had everything in the bag. He was going to get to pick anybody he wanted.
Yep.
And we saw some moves by TK happen this week, and they picked up a couple players, and I think that some of those decisions and FaZe getting two teams, Parasite kind of got left with what am I going to do, but I think they put a good team together here, and I'm excited to see how they play.
I kind of love it. It's a team of guys that I think that have been under the radar, really underrated players for a while. Enable, like, I've been commentating this kid since he was 16 years old playing on the MLG Pro circuit. He has gun skill, and he's really – he showed it against Optic Gaming. If you guys don't remember, Enable was on Denial West that played Optic Gaming on the main stage, game number 1 of the U.S. Championships. He showed his skill there. Their team wasn't very solid on Denial West. He's got his first opportunity to play with some big dogs here. And I think, like you said, Parasite's going to be the leader that's really going to help these young guys take it to the next level. But when you compare this Curse squad, this Curse LV team, to Justice, who's got the stronger lineup in your opinion? And will Justice have similar issues the way we saw Curse LV fall apart when Killa and Parasite didn't get along? How long do you see the friendship lasting between Miracles, Killa, Neslo, and Stainville?
I think this could be a good team. Just to be honest, Neslo, he separates himself by having one of the strongest desires to win out of anybody in competitive COD. He'll do whatever it takes to win. And if that means humbling himself and just being that guy that keeps pushing the team forward, if he has to, he'll do whatever it takes. And so I see that Stainville is going to do the same thing. He's a veteran. I think that Miracles is one of those players that he wants to learn. He reminds me actually of Study, just to be honest. And I think what Envy did with Study is the reason they were so successful. Is just Study just kind of said, okay, you teach me whatever you need to teach me so that we can be the most successful possible. The only problem that might exist is the leadership. Is how is this team going to be led? Is it going to be Neslo doing a lot of the leadership? I know that he in the past has been kind of like the shot caller in S&D, or is it going to be Killa? That's the problem that I've seen with teams that Killa is on, is that a lot of the arguments come up not in respawns, but in those S&Ds when Killa makes a play or somebody else on the team makes a play that is questionable. And so my wonder is, are Neslo and Killa going to be able to get along when playing Search and Destroy? If I compare them against this team, this Curse ? Team, they don't have a name yet. It's actually I'd have to tip my hat to the Curse squad. And again, I'm going to say because of the proven leadership of Tipsy and Parasite, and they're going to be a more positive team. And one of the things Tipsy says in the interview I had with him is that his opinion on why SB broke up was 100% attitude. It wasn't gun skill. It wasn't their ability. We saw that at regionals. We saw it at COD Champs. It was 100% not being able to get along. And I don't think this Curse team in any way, shape, or form has a danger of not getting along. However, this Justice Pro roster, that's an opportunity. That is something that they might struggle with. And they're going to be in a team house, so they've got to learn to get along. They've got to learn to team together. Nadeshot did an interview recently with Red Bull where he said one of the toughest things about being a pro player is with everybody getting team houses, you have to actually get along with 4 other people on a consistent basis for hours on end every day. And so I'm interested in seeing how things work out, but there is that danger that Neslo and Killa will kind of battle it out when they come to playing Search and Destroy. So I guess we'll have to see.
It's going to be interesting. And you know, I really like what Neslo was telling me on the show. He says, I'm going to take a step back in that leadership role. Yeah. I think that's something that the team has probably talked about internally and said, this is where things went wrong on LV. We had too many cooks in the kitchen, too many people trying to bark orders, and the team just fell apart. So I think as long as Neslo can follow Killa's leadership and the whole team can rally behind that, this team has potential. At any moment, though, I think the dynamite could go off, and I can't wait knowing that they're in the same team house. It's going to be fun to watch. Also, you got Father Stainville in there. I mean, he's going to be able to settle the boys down, I think, better than anyone else. I also want to say, and just go on the record of saying it, I listened to a lot of Curse streams. I tuned in quite a bit. And Parasite wasn't always the best leader. In fact, he was a big reason that I thought their communication would fall apart. If he becomes a whiner like he did when that squad first started in the COD League, they're going to be doomed from the start. But I think he realizes it. He's talked with Blevdog, one of the best managers in the game, that now's his time to shine, kind of be that vocal leader, the backbone of this Curse squad. I'm excited for both teams. You think that Curse is going farther in Season 2?
Yeah, I do. I think Mochilla is going to show up. I think that Enable is going to end up being kind of like Classic on FaZe, just that silent, consistent player that consistently delivers exactly what his team needs in order for them to win. And we saw how how well FaZe did in the first season, and I think that we're going to see that kind of consistent success in Season 2 from this Curse squad. And I can tell you that, and you heard it, Tipsy is he is driven right now. He's passionate enough to say we're going to beat Neslo's team. He is very driven. And I think that's going to carry them. I think that leadership ability, and I don't think Parasite's leadership ability is going to crumble in this case. I think it's going to shine. I think we're going to see something out of Parasite that we may not have actually seen before. We're going to see a side of him that maybe we haven't seen before, and it's going to be great.
I'm excited. Well, the last month has definitely been humbling for him. Having some conversations at Call of Duty Championships, he had nothing but praise about all the other players.
Yeah.
When I expected him to be bitter, he was complimentary. So I think already he's showing signs of maturity there. This next squad, I know you have limited time here. We got about 5 more minutes with you. Let's talk about the new Cursed New York squad. Burns stepping up as captain. Revan, former captain of this squad, is now going into the content managing for Curse. And we've seen 3 members that were on Xfinity for COD Champs. They played under AOX for the planned tournament. They got picked up by this team. Is this better than the Xfinity lineup we saw at COD Champs with the addition of Burns off in place of Doubt? How does this team play out in your eyes?
I believe so, only because Burns off is going to be the captain. And I think that, we've seen Burns, he won a national free-for-all tournament or championship back in the day on Modern Warfare 3. He wants to be a winner. We saw him step up with Mochilla, with Revan, and eliminate LV at regionals. And I think that this is going to be that opportunity for Burns to say yet again, we're not the Curse B team. We are Curse New York or Curse Fire, and we're going to show up. And I think that we're going to see some interesting family feuds where they may actually take some maps off of this new Curse team. And it's going to be interesting to see how they deliver. Xfinity, they got 8th at regionals, and they didn't do as well at COD Champs. But with the leadership of Burns, I think we see this team do well. Are they going to do as well as the new Curse squad? I don't think so. I don't think they'll be as successful as the Justice Pro roster as well. But I do think that they're going to be kind of that, we're going to shock the world a couple times and take out some teams that you're not going to expect us to take out. And Burns is a hard worker, and he's an intelligent guy, and he's going to do whatever it takes to gel that team together. And the good thing is he's picking up 3 players that have played together, automatic chemistry, the same thing that I think TK was looking for when they grabbed 2 players from SB and had automatic chemistry. And so I think the chemistry is going to be there from day one. It really just comes down to Burns' leadership, and that's the transition we're seeing in competitive Call of Duty. The players in game, because of how much time they spend playing, the leadership has to come in, and great leaders win tournaments. We saw that at COD Champs, and that's what Complexity has consistently been able to do that. We saw the leadership step up with Optic Gaming, where those guys were able to gel and play together. And Envious, they shocked the world. And again, I have to say that it came down to players like Study kind of stepping back and playing their role. And that's what's going to have to happen on this Curse Fire squad in order for them to be successful.
This is the upset team. I think this is the team that everyone overlooks, and that's what they did at COD Championships. They did fall just short of the top 8, but if you watch this team play against TCM, these guys really thrive off of that negativity, everyone calling them out of it, thinking that they're underdogs. That's what happened at the U.S. Regionals when they finished in the top 8. That's when they caused some of their most fierce upsets. I think Burns, he's a player who's been... This is where I get scared. He has been kind of inconsistent for me. He's gone up. He's had slow games. I think he's going to need to turn it on. Knowing that Mochila, that lead slayer, is gone.
Is gone,
Most of Xfinity's game wins, they were losing the slaying battle. They just outperformed their opponents in the objective. Burns, where he shines, also in that objective category. My question for this team is who is going to step up and put up the kills, or is it even needed? 2 of the Respawn game modes are more about rotation and locking down positions than they are about getting the kills. It's all about the S&D game, and I think those could go either way. So best of luck to all of those teams. Kingdom, we have 6 teams entering packs. Let's bring it back in the final 2 minutes to this weekend. I'm heading out on Thursday to Boston, and we're going to see Curse Las Vegas. That's going to be Parasite, Ricky playing with Miracles, and Mud Dog as the 4th. This kill was dropped from that team. TK is playing with their original lineup with Therian and Formal playing next to Sharp and Goonjar. Envy is there with their full lineup. Complexity there with their full lineup. We're going to see SB have to reform for this tournament as well. And FaZe will be having, of course, their original 4th, Proofy. Now that Proofy has moved to FaZe Black, he's back on this FaZe squad. Who comes out in the top 4 placings? In fact, go ahead and rank them 1 through 6 after all of the Twitter drama, after all of the new team announcements before the tournament's even started. Who do you think is going to come out on top?
Complexity is going to finish first. That's a given. They're the squad that's there with their original team, and I think they're a better team than Envy right now. I think Envious takes second. This awkwardness of these teams switching, and I saw Sharp tweet, do we have to share the same rooms when we go? Once the announcement was made with Theory and Formal, the teams that they were going to be on. And I'm going to go with consistency. So I'm going to say that it's going to be Complexity, Envy, FaZe, and then SB. And even though SB has all the drama, I think they're going to want to prove something. And I think out of all of the craziness, SB is going to do the best job of getting it together and winning that event. Now, if there was some real bitterness with Censor, and so if the bitterness comes in, then SB is not going to place, and it's going to be TK just being who they are. The interesting thing that would happen is if TK wins that event, or even finishes second in that event, any of those teams that literally broke up completely, if they finish in the top, I just think that LV isn't going to finish up there, even with the addition of Mud Dog, just because of the awkwardness of the squad and what happened with them. However, I think FaZe is going to be successful because Proofy technically is still on FaZe, even though he has his own team now. And those guys, they have something to prove. They do have something to prove. I'd love to see FaZe win this just because they looked like a great team on paper. They did have way too much slaying power, is what people are saying, even about FaZe Black now, that they have too much slaying power. But I think that FaZe has something to prove. But Complexity is just too strong. They have to beat themselves in order to lose an event at this point.
Okay, we'll see if anyone can take down Cole. They are the reigning champions, and that streak is so important to them right now. They've made it to 11 of their past tournament grand finals, winning 9 of them, including the last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, $400,000 first place prize. Kingdom, thank you again for coming on the show. I hope to make you a regular on here if your schedule allows it. Where can people catch you one more time? Where can we find your content? YouTube.com/AAYM Power, and the Tipsy interview will drop as soon as Esports Report is over, because I don't want to take any of your viewers. Cheers to that, brother. All right, make sure you're following Kingdom_Soldier on Twitter. Thanks again for coming on the show. Guys, we're going to a quick commercial break. When we return, we have so much more to talk about. Denial announces their new roster. We have a new roster for TK as well. BL Fire's coming on to talk about his new squad, Denial, and Sharp will be interviewed after that, discussing some recent moves. Method's got a wake-up call at 3 a.m., and it wasn't the news he was hoping for. We'll be right back.